So I picked something up today, something I probably shouldn't have, but really, really cheap. So this is a 1969 Volkswagen 1600 single port. Picked it up for $75, and I figured I've always wanted to try rebuilding one of these, and I just never have, so I think we're gonna see if we can rebuild it. Taking a closer look, we've got a Solex 30 Picked 3, made in Germany. Honestly, this might be worth the buy just for this guy. I probably won't use it, but man, it's nice to have. We've got a Bosch distributor and a Bosch coil. No idea if that's any good, but I did pop the distributor cap off and I did see that there's no points, and it does kind of spin. I can get it to click in, but it's not completely seated in there, as you can see. Slap that back on there. Looks like just a standard fuel pump, which must mean there must have been a generator here. So nothing too fancy or anything here. I think I will be putting an alternator on once I get around to fixing it. Super dirty, super oily, not surprising, honestly. In the fan shroud, there's definitely mousage. It's disgusting. Looks like that was from the exhaust, probably. Yeah, see, like that. We've got wire, distributor, coil. We'll just boop, put that back on there for, that's kind of short. I guess I don't know what that's for, because it doesn't quite reach here. Interesting. We do have a pile of spark plugs hiding back here. Bosch, that's kind of nice, honestly. So a bummer about this motor is it is locked up from sitting. I guess it ran when parked, which I guess is not that surprising. For something in this condition, that it's locked up. So I'm gonna get some Marvel Mystery Oil. The previous owner decided to try and get it loose, and he couldn't get it loose. So I think I'm just gonna still try my hand at it. Honestly, I feel like I could make my money back selling the coil, distributor, and carb by themselves. But I'd really, really like to build it up. Don't tell anyone, but I think I kind of want to convert this car back to air-cooled, because I really want to slam it, I really want to get it low, and I really want to see if I can build this motor into something that runs. My plan right now is to clean it out and get all the mouse stuff out of it and see if I can get it to loosen up, put some Marvel Mystery Oil in it and see if it'll loosen up. Just soak it. I won't go get it tonight, but I'll probably go on my way to work tomorrow, stop at O'Reilly's and get some of that juice. But we'll see how it goes. I also don't think I have a socket this big, so I'm gonna have to go get one. It really is gross in there. Lots of mouse turds and all that stuff, but this is cool to have the old carb here. Well, definitely tired, but maybe we'll list that one up on eBay. I'd love to do a dual carb setup just because I think they're cool. Beautiful night out here too. Got the moon up there. Kind of might be one of the last really nice warm days here in Duluth. It's quite nice actually. It hit like 80 today, which is a little warm for me, but it's going to be a cold winter, I'm sure, so how can I really complain? You know, back out in the garage again, big shock. Checking out the air-cooled motor again. Having a Coors Banquet, because why not? Taking a look at this thing again. Got some Marvel Mystery Oil to pour down the spark plug holes, and then also some engine degreaser, because this engine is not degreased and needs to be, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna first rotate the motor this way, because I also want to disconnect thermostat from the housing. I realize that that's got a little flap thing that needs to be, it all needs to be undone. And then also I'll start pouring the good down the spark plug holes and see if we can get this thing to loosen up, because it is seized. Alright, so we got the motor kind of sitting sideways. We're just gonna slap a little bit of juice down in there. Oh yeah, we'll do the other one. We'll let her soak a little bit. Okay, Marvel Mystery Oil down the chute. Might as well also pop the valve cover off. There we go. There's a little valve train. Check it out. Looks okay-ish. I have to admit, I do have experience with these to some extent. You know, I've had a couple different air-cooled motors in this car, and I've worked on them a little bit, but I've never rebuilt one, so this is kind of new territory. I hardly know what I'm looking for. I know things about them, but rebuilding them not so much. But I mean, like, I don't know. I did manage to get the fan shroud off, and look what I found inside. Another mouse nest. Disgusting. I might wheel this outside and wash it down, but I'm gonna try not to get more water in it because it's probably why the thing's seized up, but it is definitely oily on the outside and stucky on the inside. So we're gonna see if this loosens up at all. I sure hope it does. I really want this thing to work, but I think if all goes well and it is a good motor base to build off of, like, I'll probably pull the cylinders off and I'll do pistons and everything. I don't know how the rings, how those look, but I think I'm gonna do a dual carb setup. I'll sell the Solex and maybe the Bosch distributor. I'd like electronic ignition. I had electronic ignition in, the 1641 that I had in this car. So yeah, just something more to do, just a little sportier, So after a great amount of effort, I got the intake manifold off, pulled the carb and distributor out, which, fun. Had a little bit of trouble, ruined this stud here. I had to actually break it off and I'll just have to replace that. Hopefully heads are good. I cleaned out the mouse nests, but only kind of. They're super gross. Those are gonna burn bad. I'm probably gonna end up replacing the pistons and the cylinder buckets anyway, whatever. But yeah, I'll probably end up listing these two on eBay just because I think there's a little money to be made. At least pay for the motor, and then assuming I can get the thing loose, maybe some extra parts. Well, it snowed on my way to work the other day, so we're bundled up in the wool coat tonight. What do you think of the fit? Like a Mackinac Cruiser kind of style? I think it's cozy. It's nice and warm. Still very much seized up, but good news, none of the stuff that I pulled out of the lower sump was magnetic and appears to just be carbon deposits from the oil. That's something that I was really worried about. I thought there was just chunks of metal stuck in this thing from running and seizing, but no, it was still, as far as I can tell, something that just sat and got stuck. So kind of the next step is to pull the heads off and see if I can get it loose that way. It's gonna probably take some effort, but the plan is to clean everything up on it so then I can bring it into the house, lay down some stuff and be able to build it in my guest bedroom over the winter. Because I'm just, I work out here a lot and I've worked out here a lot during the winters, and I'm sick of it. I'm sick of being cold. I'm making a healthy decision for myself while still working on some things, you know what I mean? So pretty much the easiest engine to build, and I'm looking forward to that. But I'm basically gonna put the car in the corner on rollers, just push it up against the wall and play with it in the spring. But before I do that, I'm planning on installing these coilovers. These are actually for a motorcycle. They're kind of unnamed Amazon specials. Then I've got these Baja straps to keep them from overextending in the car, because as you can see, the existing coilovers are quite long. So these are going to go in tomorrow, hopefully. The reason I want to do this is I want to get the car to sit lower, but I don't want to lose out on the stiffness that the coilovers provide. So the plan is put the motorcycle coilovers in that are quite a bit shorter, hope that the car will stay low in the rear, so then I can also lower the front, because I've got lowering struts up front, and I just need to pull those out, take them apart, readjust them, and it'll lower the car. The plan is to basically have this car sitting as low as I can. Very lowered Porsche. Plan is, well, I'll tell you about the plan. Without giving too much away, kind of my plan for this car is to do obviously it's a European car, but I want to do a Japanese look. So think like Yoshida Special Midnight Club Porsche, RWB. That's kind of what I'm going to go for, but probably won't go terribly wide with it. Probably a little bit leaning more towards the Midnight Club style. The car's going to get repainted. I think a majority of the winter, besides building the engine, is going to be coming up with a concept for what I want the car to look like. And that's not something I did from the beginning. I pulled this car out of a barn and didn't have a real plan for it. I had some general little ideas, but I wanted to kind of in a way start over with this car. Luckily, the driveline is pretty good. I've got transmission. I've done a lot of the mechanics. Now it's just going to be purely aesthetic, and I'm really excited now that I've got a vision and a plan for it. My brother, Cody's RPM, said he'd paint it. Stay tuned. I'm going to try to come up with a little concept for you. And for me, honestly, hoping to have a running motor in the spring, but we'll find out. The plan before winter here is to obviously get those coilovers in, but pull off as much of the coolant lines as I can. I want to pull the fenders off because these are great, but I want to use the steel fenders so I can trim them and then do some fender flares, which I think are going to look really good. I'm going to keep these mirrors kind of Datsun style. I'll probably pull the fenders off this year still. The side skirts will come off. I like the concept. We're going to go further with that is kind of the plan. And pull the radiator out and then basically push the car into the corner, which really is the saddest part of the year. I just, for my own sake, I want to slow down a little bit. I want to focus more on photography, video production, and obviously coming up with my car concept. So it's going to be a little different than I've done it. You know, I've basically worked on this car every winter for the last 6 years since I pulled it out of the barn, and I want to do something different. I'm not sure why I do this to myself. I think it's just, this is the car that I've chosen to continue to work on forever. Also, the garage is really messy, so I think that's another thing I'm going to have to do. I hope to fit at least one more vehicle in here for the winter, and it's not working right now, to be honest. My channel has been experiencing a lot of growth lately, and I'm really excited for that. And for those who are new subscribers, thank you for being here. I couldn't have imagined that people were going to be watching and subscribing in the speed that they have been, and it's come as quite a surprise, but I'm here for it. I'm excited for it. It feels weird to ask people to subscribe, but if you like cars, you like photography, if you like just general weird garage random content, honestly lots of random content, please consider subscribing. I think it'd be fun to hear from you in the comments. You know, it's funny, YouTubing feels like I still feel a little embarrassed about it. You know, it's kind of a hobby, you know, tell people, oh yeah, I'm uploading videos, but it's also like, man, I'm really enjoying this, so feel free to subscribe.